Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. We're doing a top 5 for you guys today. So we're going to go through our favourite ever single player campaign style co-op games. These are games we generally both enjoyed playing as a couple, so they're ideal for couples who want to enjoy the same gaming experiences together. And without further ado, we'll start off with some honourable mentions. So these are games that didn't quite make the top 5, but are definitely games that we enjoy playing together. So first off, we'll start off with the most retro, and that is Zombies, or Zombies Ate My Neighbours in American regions. Most widely known as a co-op zombie shooter, more of an arcade style game, and just really fun to go through. Doesn't really have a campaign as such, it's more of sort of an arcade playthrough together, but we both enjoy playing it a lot.
Yeah, it's very difficult though.
It is very difficult, and there's something like over 70 levels, so if you complete it together then well done, but we've never even got past level 6 or 7, I
think 7 is our max so far.
Yeah, so it's a difficult one, but a fun one. And then most of these games you're going to find are quite sort of new. So the next one we'll talk about is Lego Marvel Superheroes on the Wii U. So that game is a really fun Lego co-op campaign game, and we both like Lego. Well, we both like Marvel, so it's a great game to play together on the Wii U. One of you can play on the gamepad and one of you on the controller, and it sort of flows really well. The campaign's really funny, easy to play, not too stressful.
You can switch which characters you want to be as well as you go through the levels, which is always fun.
Yeah, so wife likes being Hulk, so she can do Hulk smash.
Yeah, I like smashing things up.
And yeah, we thought that was definitely worth an honourable mention, even though it didn't make the top 5. And lastly, for the honourable mentions, is a game that I've only recently got on the Switch for physical, which I've done a review on, and that is Super Blood Hockey on the Switch. It was produced by Premium Edition Games on the Switch recently. You could download it fairly cheap. Obviously this is more because it's physical, so it's about £40 new. But again, this game you can play through the campaign together if you so choose. You can even play 4-player through the campaign together as you choose. Because obviously when you're playing ice hockey in this game you've got 5 players on the pitch. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun ice hockey game. Sort of a top-down, pixely, bloody game, as in the name. And
yeah, no rules hockey.
No rules hockey, and as the wife used to play ice hockey and still wants to get back into it, she really enjoys it as well. And I'd say it works best as a 2-player game because you can sort of link up your plays, and one of you can be defending or one offensive, or you can run together and score together, which is always really satisfying.
Yeah, I think it just didn't make top 5 because it doesn't really have a story to it as such.
No,
so it's more just a fun let's play hockey game rather than a story. So.
It's more of a league style game, a bit like Football Manager, where you just have infinite seasons really.
Yeah.
So that leads us on to the top 5. So at number 5 is a game that well, you wouldn't really expect it to be on our top 5, but that is Stardew Valley on the Nintendo Switch. This is probably the most relaxing game we've ever played together. Doesn't force you to do anything. There is a backstory to it. It's had lots of updates to it to sort of increase that story with new islands and things. It's a bit more serious than, say, Animal Crossing, because it's a 12 plus. Does have some adult themes which are quite funny, but the actual gameplay is very relaxing, and there's just so much depth to it, and we always go back to it because it just never gets boring really.
Yeah, it's one of those games you can kind of just pick up and start again whenever. You don't lose track of where you are. You don't have to remember. You can leave it for a week and go back to it, and it's yeah, it's just something for a really chilled evening. Only reason we put it in 5th is because it doesn't really have an end game. You never really reach an end goal, but in some respects that's quite good because it means we can continue playing it for as long as we want. So, but yeah, it allows you to get married in the game. We've actually also had a baby in the game. So it has lots of fun little sort of real life aspects, but it is very chilled. So
yeah, that's number 5. Moving on to number 4 is, we'll say it's a series because it's not just this game, and that is Overcooked, or Overcooked 2 as this case implies. We have only got the physical copy of Overcooked 2 because we just played the first one on download. I think it was on PS Plus a long while back, and this was really, really good. I would say the first one was slightly better because it was actually a bit more tricky.
yeah.
The boss fights, if you can call it that, were a lot more difficult on the first game. Second one we sort of steamed through. It may or may not be because we were so good at the first one. I wouldn't recommend this game unless you've got like a strong sort of relationship.
Yeah, you need really good communication skills and a strong relationship to prevent any arguments, let's say.
Yeah, you kind of have to have one person who's telling you what to do, because if you just both do individual tasks, you're going to sort of step on each other's toes. But it is a lot of fun, and it's not very serious, as the age rating implies, and it's by Team 17, who have been around a long time, who do a lot of different co-op games, and this is definitely one of their better ones. I believe on PlayStation Plus at the moment you can get the Overcooked all-you-can-eat bundle, which is basically both games with all the DLCs all bundled together, which is really cool, and I highly recommend downloading that. Just to sort of get your head around it before you go and buy a physical copy if you're into collecting physical. So that's number 4. Number 3 is a game I actually sold and re-picked up because I heard it had more DLCs, and we discovered that on the Wii U version of this game you couldn't actually play co-op, which was a bit of a downer. So that is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. So on this you can play 2-player offline, and your Toad and Toadette, obviously the wife was Toadette, and it's just a very, very cute puzzle sort of game where you go through these 3D levels and try and collect all of the was it the stars or the coins?
Yeah, all the stars.
Yeah, and then once you collect all of the stars, or enough stars, you sort of can progress to the next level. And then you have to sometimes repeat levels to get more stars. The boss fights were not too difficult, apart from maybe the last one.
Yeah, the last one was tricky, but the others were fairly okay.
Yeah, so you definitely need someone who knows their stuff about gaming to sort of play through it, and then you could sort of have someone in, like my wife, who doesn't play too many games but can still enjoy it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a good game to play with someone who's maybe getting into gaming co-op for the first time.
Yeah, trying to get used to the hand-eye coordination and things of level play, especially 3D level play, was good fun on this because it wasn't too complicated, but a good way for me to start to get used to it. So
yeah.
And it's just really colourful. The levels are all really different. Lots of colours, lots of like traditional characters in it. So it's one we love playing together, and one we actually look forward to introducing to our own little boy when he comes along, because it'll be a great game to play with a child as well as a couple. So
yeah, definitely a simple game to start with that sort of increases in difficulty. So yeah, it's a good step up for anyone. And that is number 3.
Oh, the exciting bit.
Yeah.
Top 2.
Yeah, and then it's top 2. We actually found it quite hard to choose between these two, just because they're both incredible co-op games. Like in my mind, they're just leagues above everything else.
Yeah, it took us a while to pick. We had a bit of discussion, didn't we, about how to order them.
Yeah. So number 2 is Unravel 2. So Unravel has been around for quite a while, and then a few years back, I can't remember, I think it was 2018 or 2019, Unravel 2 came out. Played it on PC originally. But this is obviously a co-op Unravel. So in this game, you're sort of these two. It's a platformer where you've got two sort of yarny characters, and you're both attached together with yarn, and then you use that bit of yarn that you're connected together with to sort of swing between things and complete the challenges. And sometimes you've got levels where you have to sort of outrun the evil sort of enemies, and does have some sort of like very very mild violence, hence why it's a 7 age rating, but has a stunning sort of story behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, it has quite. I don't know. This one really hit me emotionally. It has quite an emotional story to it and background to it. It's just very very beautiful. The music's very beautiful. The background is gorgeous, and the special effects. And it is all about working together as a team. You cannot complete levels if you can't work well together as a team. So I just really enjoyed that, in the sense that, you know, we had to play to both our strengths, but we had to complete the levels together. You know, Dale's obviously a much more comprehensive gamer than me, so his skill level's a lot higher, but he had to slow his pace and teach me how to do things in order for us to be able to complete them. So it was a really nice kind of bonding experience, I think, playing this game.
And you definitely improved as you sort of went along.
Yeah.
And it does even have the option, if you both really are stuck and you both can't do it together, then one of the players can jump on the other player's back, and sort of piggyback.
You become a combined character, don't you? So the better of the two of you can maybe do those slightly trickier moves if you've got a player that's not fully confident on doing some of the more coordinated moves.
Although even though that is an option, you don't have to use it. And sometimes you physically are not able to, because you actually need both of you to do it.
Yeah.
And it actually had a lot of sort of levels to this game. It was probably at least 15 hours worth of gameplay.
Yeah, it's just worth noting though that it is only Unravel 2 that is the co-op version.
Yeah. So Unravel 1, from what I can tell, I've not actually played through it. It's quite a short game in comparison to the second one. Because it installs a lot quicker, and it's obviously not got as many levels. And right, we'll move on to number 1 now. And this game only came out, what was it, this
Last year, I think? Or was it this year?
I think it was this year actually.
Yeah.
And that is It Takes Two by Hazelight Studios, and then released by EA. So EA actually did Unravel as well. This game was just incredible. Its co-op story was really hard-hitting and emotional, and all the levels were incredibly well designed. Most of the time it's sort of a 3D platformer, but you do have sort of different levels. There was even sort of a gauntlet style level where I was a mage and Natasha was a warrior, I think.
Yeah.
And the puzzles were incredibly fun to do, and really, some of them were really long-winded, but you never felt like it was difficult, or it felt like it was never repetitive, which is an amazing feature of a game. And it probably took the best part of 12 hours to complete, and that's if you're not messing around. So there was loads of fun elements to the game, wasn't there, where you could mess around.
You had lots of sort of mini games and things like that, which weren't part of the story, but you could free roam the level you were in, and you could go and find and explore things and play these mini games against each other. So you could make it as long as you wanted to, really. If you just played the levels all the way through, then you probably would do it in about 10-12 hours. I think we extended it a little bit by having some fun with some of the mini games.
Yeah.
Which inevitably Dale always won, but but they were fun, and there's lots of, as much as the main theme is quite hard hitting, there's lots of humour in it as well.
Yeah.
There's a book character in it who is very very funny, but we won't give away too many spoilers on that if you haven't played it. But yeah, there was lots of humorous parts in it that made us laugh as well. And yeah, I think having played Unravel, playing this was a lot easier for me, because there is a lot more that you have to do as a team, as independent characters. You can't really piggyback off of another player as easily in this one. So this one's definitely for those who've picked up a bit more of those coordination skills in gaming, I think.
Yeah, and I would definitely keep an eye out on any Hazelight Studios games that ever get released. They also released a Way Out,
That's
which
the one.
was a game from 2018, I think.
Yeah.
And that was again a really good co-op story. This was even more epic. Both of them were good games, but this was just miles better than anything else I've ever played co-op, to be honest.
I think A Way Out was very unique for a co-op game that was a full sort of RPG story game. I think the only reason we didn't put it in our list was just because of the shortness of it, and it in some places it was a bit repetitive in terms of what each player would do. But as a first co-op game to attempt together, it was still really good, just not good enough to make our shortlist, I don't think.
Yeah. So that was our top 5 co-op games to play as a couple. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, highly recommend either of the games we mentioned today. But if you're going to pick one, has to be It Takes Two. Go and play it with your wife, partner, girlfriend, whatever, and you'll really enjoy it. I think you can even play it online. It comes with a code, so if you aren't in the same room as someone, you can just give them the code, and then they can play it remotely with you with headsets, which obviously a lot of other people do if they're not able to be together.
Not living together or anything.
Yeah. If you enjoyed that video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
And if you have any recommendations for us of any other co-op or RPG style games that we could do together, then let us know.
Yeah, there's a definite pattern of not having sort of retro, older games in this. Probably because when you're doing co-op, obviously there's more sort of compute power needed to play 2 versions of the same game through at the same time. But if there is retro campaign games out there that are co-op, then please let us know down in the comments. But until next time, guys, cheers for now.
Bye.